So let's open it.
Do what you told. What's that?
We'll do what you want. Come again. How's it been hanging, George?
It's been hanging long, loose, and ready for use.
Okay.
I saw it roll in, and I'm intrigued as to the package here.
So this is an 05 Mustang. This isn't a real Shelby GT500 because those didn't come out until 2007.
Sure.
But what this car was, this was a car that was specially custom built for SEMA in 2005. So a lot of the ground effects you see it's a Cervini package. Obviously, it's meant to replicate
the Eleanor from Gone in 60 Seconds, which was a 67 Shelby GT350.
Correct, yes. So these guys made the body designs and the body mods to make this car look as close to the 67 as it possibly could. That Eleanor car has spawned all kinds of replicas and things like this, and now even onto this body style Mustang. So this thing is more than a pretty face, though.
Real cars, real guys, and real talk. Live from the gearbox at Unique Classic Cars. Welcome to Motorhood.
So let's get to the power.
Let's get to...
So this one, as you can see, has got a few goodies underneath the hood here.
You can't see most of it.
That is right, but it's also, so it's cosmetic and design, but here's the big boy right here that helps get the power. So this thing's putting around 500 horsepower out, so it's not, oh my gosh, you can't drive it. You can drive this on the street if you want, have your fun with it. If you want to get into it, you can do that too. It's the best of both worlds. Obviously, you can see it's exceptionally clean. This car's only got 15,000 miles on it. Really, it takes two of you to push that car? And it's set up. You can see these are plumbed in for a little extra juice, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Lots of fun there. But really, the only, so the bones of this car, as I mentioned, is a 2005 Mustang. But if you look at the roof, this car also has a glass roof. I don't know if you had seen that yet or not. So, I mean, it is just top to bottom, front to back. This thing just oozes cool, man.
The lights up front.
Yep, got fog lights up front there.
This badging looks nostalgic.
They did that to replicate, again, back to the 67. So that is a repop badge, and they're calling it the E edition, because they probably can't use the Eleanor because it's probably trademarked.
Sure.
So that's why it's the E edition.
Right.
So.
And the exhaust as well.
Side exiting exhaust, the spoilers in the back. I mean, it is the recreated Shelby style wheels.
Well, this was a one of one at SEMA, right?
Correct.
Right,
yep.
It is.
Yep, they did a fantastic job doing that. And it's kind of funny, by contrast, behind us, we've got a 70 Mach 1. So you got the nostalgia cross-sectioning over to, a newer model with all the cool mods on it. So.
What would be really cool is if it came with a replica of Angelina Jolie.
I'm glad you said that and not Nick Cage.
I said, put the bunny back in the box.
Yeah, we're gonna be cutting that way, so we're gonna need you to not be right there. Yeah. Now this one's got a lot of power, similar in color, but this one is bone stock, but she's a monster.
It is the Dodge Demon. The funny thing is, the original Demon was actually a Dart from 71, 72.
Yes.
And a cool story about that, it was originally going to be called the Beaver. I'm not making this up.
The Beaver.
The guys had it all set to go. The brass caught wind of it, and they were keen to pop culture, and they were like, we can't call it the Beaver. Now, as close as the correlation is between Beaver and Demon, okay, they went.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, okay. They went with Demon instead, but this was actually, this current car was, I believe, 2017?
That's a good question.
The way it's set up now. This car is, obviously Dodge, their whole concept was to create a car that could drag race that was street legal.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the horsepower on this bad boy, do you remember?
Over 800?
She's a monster. And again, this is a car that, if you can keep your foot out of it, you can drive it, normal. But boy, You got a heavy foot. The one thing with these cars, clips on social media and everything, these guys that buy these cars brand new, they've never driven a car like this, and they leave the dealership and total them out.
Well, they call them
because they spin around and they're gone.
Right. Well, how many times have we heard that? You can never have too much horsepower.
Right.
If you're used to it,
correct,
and you know how to handle it,
right,
feather the pedal and everything else, but that's why they call it a crowd finder. Because that's usually where it winds up when they're whipping those spins in parking lots and stuff. It's going to wind up taking somebody out in the crowd.
Exactly. You know, that's crazy, man. I have to admit, I did not know about the Beaver.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I think it's kind of ironic. You know, they named it after, like you said, that car in the 70s on their intermediate platform. What was the biggest motor you can get in one of those? A 360? You know, I mean, it was anything but a demon, but they called it that, you know. Right. And now this one's a fire-breathing, just a monster.
Right.
What a demon should be.
And suspension and handling upgrades have added. I mean, you can't even really emphasize that enough. But this car is set to go. And like I said, we hear people talk all the time, like, I can handle the horsepower. They get it, and a lot of people find out that they can't. No, they cannot.
It's interesting, George. We've had over the last few years, we've had people trade cars into us because they scared themselves with it.
Right. It's crazy power. It really is until you feel it. Anything over 500, I think a lot of guys, until you experience it, you don't know what you're dealing with.
And that car, by the way, that Challenger, has less than 2,000 miles on it.
I saw that, 1,900. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's literally like brand new.
Right.
It is.
Now this car, 2010 Camaro, looks kind of stock, right?
Right.
But it's not. So this is an SLP, it's a ZL550. They take a 2010, in this case, Camaro SS. They were sent off to SLP Engineering, right?
Right.
So these cars were about 400 horsepower out of the box with the 6.2 liter. SLP does their thing with it. They put suspension mods and different wheels, get it lowered, supercharger, all this stuff. So now this is a 550 horse Camaro. It's kind of a wolf in sheep's clothing, right?
Right.
You can sneak up to somebody in another Camaro and they think, oh, that's cool, and they're going to race.
Right.
And then you're going to blow their doors off with this one because it actually is not stock. There's a couple little nods that'll tip it off if somebody's looking, a couple of badges here and there. But that's about it. And anybody that knows the Camaros more, all of a sudden that scoop will give it away a little bit.
Right.
This car also, 1,500 actual miles on it.
Crazy.
On a 2010.
And the 550 tells us that this is the automatic because the 575 was the standard.
Correct.
Manual transmission.
Yep. So if you look under the hood on this guy, it is also, you know, I'm so happy to be in a time where, you know, the muscle cars came back. 80s sucked. 90s weren't much better.
Right.
But when really it started with the GT 500s and the Mustangs in 07. GT 500s came out, the Challenger came out in 08. These came out in 2010, and bang, we're back to 1970 all over again.
Right.
With some cool, fast, powerful cars. It's so nice to have it back.
Don't have to worry about like gas emissions, things like that.
Yeah.
If you want the car, drive it.
No carburetor to mess with. No, you know, it's no points and condensers or anything like that. So to be able to have modern day horsepower is fantastic. Corvette even jumped back in the race. The C5 Corvette up until 2004 was still pretty mild. I mean, the car would go, but it was 350 horsepower. You know, it was all right. C6s, then they started putting the 6.2s in them, and then you get into the C7s. Now they started getting some pretty hefty horsepower again. And now, you know what, we should go outside and, actually, speaking of Corvettes, we should go outside and look at that C8 we just got in,
We'll take a look at that. One thing that stands out, and I get this from a lot of guys who come in and look at Camaros, is the windows. And I dug into this on the driver's windows because they're a little bit shorter too.
Yep.
But they talked about how important it was, the Chevrolet designers, for unibody construction and try to keep it as close as they possibly could. And they say that actually improves suspension and handling quite a bit.
Oh yeah, it gives, there's more structural rigidity. You know, when you have a higher shouldered car and a lowered roof line, the structural rigidity is a lot better, and they need that for the horsepower that we're talking about.
Yeah, it is a beautiful car. Again, both these cars under 2,000 miles.
Yeah, I mean, it's you can come in here and get a nearly brand new 2010 Camaro, a 2018 Demon. I mean, even that Mustang's only got 15,000 miles. That's still pretty damn good.
Right.
Oh, and the Corvette we're going to go look at, for a non-Z06, that was a very expensive car.
Let's go take a look at it.
And last but not least.
Oh, not least at all.
So 2023 Stingray, under 2,000 miles as we talked about. And like you mentioned earlier, the guy that ordered this, he was telling us he literally checked every box. down to the red seat belts are a $500 option.
Yeah.
The two-tone interior is an option. Got both tops for it, the translucent and the painted top. The Stingray R graphics. This thing was $96,000 as a 3LT or Z51 car. One of the options, it's about, I think it's a $1,200 or $1,500 option, George. The GM calls it front lift. So there's a button in the dash you push. So let's say you buy this car and you live in a neighborhood where there's a little bit of an incline
like mine,
to your driveway or anything like that. You push this button right when you get close to your driveway, push the button, the nose of the car will come up to help clearance so you can get into your driveway okay. But then you know what it does is it's based on GPS. So now from that moment on, every time you get home, the car remembers where you're at. It'll automatically do it for you. The car will raise right before you go to pull in your driveway.
That's incredible.
It's amazing.
And
that's just one of several options this car has. But I mean, how genius is that?
It is. No, speaking of just C8s in general, I know you've driven them all, right?
Yep.
What is the difference that you noticed when they went from the C7 to the C8 and they move the engine?
The one thing with the C8s that I have noticed is, kind of like we were talking about inside, C5 Corvette was a great driving, cruising car. C6, same thing with more power. C7 is, in my opinion, the first time it really felt like a sports car.
Right.
Right? And now with the C8, and that's why it's so controversial, it feels more like an exotic sports car.
Right.
With the mid-engine and even the styling. I mean, a lot of people, well, what is it? When these first came out, is that a Ferrari? Is it a Lamborghini? Is it, whatever? The Corvette, as we had known it for so long, drastically changed.
Oh, absolutely.
And it is, this is, the handling of this car, the power is phenomenal. They're an awesome, awesome ride. And like I said, this particular one, less than 2,000 miles on it. Of course, now you can look at the motor back here. It just screams power, right?
Yeah. Well, reading
awesome.
About the Chevrolet engineers, they had done so much with the Corvette, right up through the C7. They got to a point to really master what they call that roll center.
Yep.
They decided they had to move it. Right? So it wasn't all about aesthetics, even though this car looks really cool.
Yep.
It kind of has that European design to it.
Yep.
But it was all about getting every ounce of suspension and handling that you can out of a car.
Well, and another thing too with these is that Corvette diehards probably know this, but maybe some of those that don't. This mid-engine idea in a Corvette is not new.
I didn't know that, really.
Zora Arkus Duntov, who was the designer of these cars in the beginning, all the way back to the, I think, 60s or maybe even late 50s, but I know for sure in the 60s, he was trying to figure a way. There were test cars made with mid-engine setups like this way back then. He wanted to have that for power to rate ratio and all those sorts of things, and but he could never get it pushed through. So
Sure.
this happening was not new. That was 50 years in the making, and it was thought about a long, long time ago.
Right.
And here we are now finally able to enjoy it. So.
And by the way, talking to guys in sales that have these cars say that you can get into that car despite the appearance of it and take a long road trip. You feel fantastic.
They're very ergonomically
Sound.
comfortable.
Yeah.
One thing that people say about these, it's very much a driver's car, right? The passengers, one of the knocks on these cars is the passengers, they feel alienated because if you look inside, how it's got that row of all the buttons and all that kind of stuff, and the passenger feels like they're in their own little box, right? Now, there's been some news coming out, the new Corvette, that when they refresh this, there's rumor that row of buttons is going away and they're going to bring that down because of the complaints they've had about it. It doesn't bother me any, and it certainly doesn't bother you if you're the driver.
It kind of looks like a cockpit of a fighter jet.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And it's got that real feel when you get in and set inside of them. But man, this is like years in the making.
Yes.
I did not know about that.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
early attempts to do that. Let me ask you this. Of all of the cars that we just looked at, would it depend on what you want? What are you going with?
I like the C8s. I haven't been like, oh my gosh, crazy in love with the C8s. But this particular one, I like the color combination. The stripes are nice, but they're not overwhelming. Out of the ones we just looked at, I'd probably go here.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm
Yeah?
going to agree with you, yeah. Even talking with Jackson, he said when look at all the pieces, and I was talking to him about the cars we were going to look at.
Yep.
He said that's the complete package you're looking for right there.
It's pretty sweet.
That is incredible.
What do you think? Should we go back in and wrap this baby up?
I think we've got some things to talk about. We got another roll-in coming up, and we've got a cool event up at the State Fairgrounds this weekend.
All right, let's get it. So out of everything that we just talked about, all the car stuff was fun and everything, but honestly, the thing that I'm hung up on, and I'm going to ask you one more time because I can't tell if you're pranking me or not. That whole bullshit story about the beaver, is that really a thing?
I'm not making it up. It almost became the beaver. It was like, can you imagine? And to me, for the life of me, I can't figure out what would have been the appeal of that.
What are you driving?
I'm driving the beaver.
Put yourself in 1972, right?
Yeah.
Hey, me and the guys are going out. What are you driving tonight? I'm taking my Barracuda. Right. And what are you taking? I'm taking my Mustang, getting all the animals. Right. What are you driving? I'm driving the beaver. I read that story, and I'm like, are you kidding me? So I think Demon is a little bit more fitting, but like I said, the correlation between beaver and it's there. It is there if you read between the lines.
Yeah, it's there. But I tell you what, man, it's fun to look at fun stuff. Beavers and demons are...
Yes.
But, but in all seriousness, we are loaded with awesome vehicles right now. Yeah. I ran into Craig when I was coming in this morning. He's one of our transport guys. Closed trailer. Brings me back. He says, you got to look at something here before I unload it. Mm-hmm. A 1969 Trans Am, and it is absolutely beautiful. Unbelievable.
I haven't even seen that yet. I knew it was coming, but
I had never seen one in person. And you read about them. There's Firebirds out there, but the Trans Am.
Are we going to have to huddle around that for our next episode?
We may have to. Because the guy that is selling it here on consignment, by the way, has a quite extensive collection.
I was surprised, as someone who has a collection of Trans Ams, I kind of would assume that this would have been the last one to go, but he wanted to start with this one. We're lucky he picked us to represent his collection for him. It's awesome.
I've been out this early summer to various car shows throughout the southern half of the state here. And one thing that really stands out to me is we get spoiled because we are in 70 degrees, perfect climate, and the best of the cars and each model we have in our showroom. So we walk through here daily. So that's why I always invite people, man, if you guys enjoy this, you should come down to our showroom and just take a stroll through. Give yourself some time because you're going to need it.
You can come into our showroom and walk around. It's free.
Yeah.
There are, I don't understand it, why there's some businesses that do kind of what we do around the country, and they charge $20 to get in or $40 to get in or something. I think that's ridiculous. Come in and browse around anytime you want. No pressure, no nothing. Come in. I mean, it's a car show all by itself in here. Our front desk will offer you a beverage and a snack and anything else like that. So come on in and enjoy your time here. We want to share this with as many people as we can.
Speaking of that, we've got our second roll-in of the season coming up this weekend.
Yeah, and I think I know it's going to rain like crazy here the next day or two, but I think Saturday's supposed to be decent.
Looks pretty good. We're talking upper 70s and sunshine.
Yeah. So that'll be awesome. The one in May, we were full packed, and there were cars parking out in the overflow and everything, man. It was great. And just like every other one, we are going to have live music. We're going to have food. All of these cars get to be looked at, plus a couple hundred outside. I mean, it's a good time, man.
Yeah, we do that the second Saturday of every month through the summer into September.
Yes, that's correct. Correct.
Speaking of events, the Minnesota State Fairgrounds.
Holy smokes. So the event, the MSRA Back to the 50s, is June 20 through 22nd. So every year in the past, usually the numbers are around 13,000 spectator cars, over 100,000, 120, 30,000 people. Takes over the entire state fairgrounds. I mean, anyone that's been to a state fair, that's massive.
And Minnesota's is specifically huge.
Yes, and it's all cars 1964 and older that come into this event, right? But along with that, naturally, there's a bunch of vendors, and we've been an exhibitor up there for, almost 20 years. And we always take our show trailer and some cars and everything else. That's all fine. But now this year, there was a gentleman that had been doing a car corral there where people can check their cars in, have them advertised and facilitated for sale. He's been doing it for a long time, done a fantastic job. He's kind of at the point where he's passing the torch, and we raised our hand that we would do it. So we're actually doing the car corral this year, which, by the way, has been a second full-time job for me.
Sure.
The response has been fantastic. All these people that want to get their cars in the corral and have the opportunity to sell them at Back to the 50s. So we are doing that. And not only at Back to the 50s, there's an online, all those cars are also in an online proxy bid auction. I'm certain that our producer will be able to put something cool on the bottom of the screen that'll show where that is. So you can go on there no matter where you are in the country, or no matter where you are in the world, in fact, and you can bid on these cars that are coming from people all over the upper Midwest that are consigning these cars that, for various of reasons, they're at that point in their lives, or maybe it's an estate or this or that, but nonetheless, the cars are for sale. We're looking forward to getting that going, and I think it's going to be in fact, I know that it's a great selection of cars already. Every price point from, there's a couple cars that are under 10 grand to a couple cars that are almost 100. One hell of a mix of cars to see.
Yeah, I tell guys all the time, because we're getting that response now. If you're interested in one of the vehicles you see on our YouTube shorts, on our podcast, anything we're talking about, uniqueclassiccars.com. The car will be there, information, and you'll get a very detailed look at it. Once it makes its way through the system from Jay as he gets it over at the detail shop and give you the rundown on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is fun. Well, it's just fun stuff. Today, that's what it was all about, is fun. And going fast, right?
Yes.
Because what do we say?
Well, I mean, if you're in doubt,
gas it.
Gas it, man.